Hey, everybody. Welcome to our show. And we got a little bit of feedback. I'm going to try to sit back a little bit. There we go. Yeah, Mel, that helped. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have a very, very special guest. But before we get started with our topic tonight, want to thank you again for joining us tonight. John had to work today, so he actually is already in bed. But he's going to watch us on the recording as well. So he says he's sorry that he wasn't able to be here tonight. Please, if we're here to bring you ideas and lessons that we have learned through our experiences in healing to hopefully help share and hope you be able to find peace and find your way back to you. I found for me personally, being able to learn how to love myself and to be able to stand in my own authenticity was a huge part of my own healing journey. So that's what that's what we want to do with this channel, is to be able to share some of our ideas, some of the lessons that we've learned, some of the frameworks that have been really powerful to us. And so thank you for being here. Please like, and subscribe, as well as share if you find any of this material beneficial. You can also, through our channel, through the Deservingly You channel, you can find the links to mine and John's calendars, where if you'd like to have conversations with us and do a one-on-one, we're happy to have a conversation with you. Hi, Jay. Welcome tonight. What was it? The chat always throws me. I always end up getting distracted when I see the chat. But like Ruby said, like the opening shows, we stream this across 3 different channels. But if you want John and I to see your comments, I do go out and check Ruby's channel, but sometimes I may miss them. She's going to start directing everybody to our channel so that you can subscribe to our channel, and so that any of the conversations that we have there, that way you know that John and I are getting those messages and we're not missing them, because we want to be able to encourage you. So with all of that, tonight I have a very special guest joining me, and to help educate us on a really, really cool healing tool that she's found beneficial in her life. I'm learning about it. I can't wait to have even more experiences with it. So Melody and I, let's see, we have known each other for over 35 years, maybe 40,
yep.
Something like that. Yeah, we've known each other since we were in diapers almost. And so we have gone up and down and gone through ugly together, and have learned a lot from one another and encouraging one another and learn from each other. So anyway, it's just so wonderful to have her here and share this with you. And so with that, I am going to turn it over to Melody. We are having a little bit of feedback tonight, so it's going to be fun clicking on and off the microphone so that we're not getting the feedback. But she's going to be carrying most of the conversation tonight, so apologize if I do speak up and there is feedback. Please forgive me. And with that, Ruby, feel free to bring up the presentation so that we can have Melody kick it off. And Mel, do you have your mic on?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, yes, I do. I first of all want to thank you and John for having me tonight. I'm very excited to be here, and I've seen pretty much every one of your lives so far. And this is just a wonderful platform. So thank you again for having me. Again, my name is Melody. I'm a certified sound healing practitioner. I went through the Academy of Sound Healing, where I am graduating from, and I've learned to work with a variety of instruments, and I guide both private and group sound baths. The beautiful part about sound healing is that it helps people experience deep rest and emotional release through sound. And there is a lot of studies going into this, and it's starting to be very, very studied in all the different modalities it can be used in. But the thing that it focuses on, which is the primary benefit, is it focuses on nervous system support, emotional clearing, and helping people reconnect with a part of themselves that already knows how to heal. So the interesting thing about sound healing, and this fascinates me, everything in the universe vibrates, everything, including the human body. And everything that's living that vibrates, it has its own specific frequency. But when our natural frequencies are disrupted by stress, illness, or emotional imbalance, sound healing can help retune the body. Sound baths employ a variety of instruments to produce sound waves that resonate with the body, restoring harmony at a cellular level. One of the things it does is brainwave entrainment, and also helps to regulate the nervous system. So for brainwave entrainment, the repetitive rhythmic sounds used in sound baths can influence brainwave activity through a process called entrainment. And these sounds help shift the brain waves from an active beta state, which is associated with stress and alertness. It's kind of your fight or flight mode. And generally speaking, we live in that daily because our body is responding to outside stress every day, all day long until we're asleep. So what this does is it switches our brainwave activity to alpha, theta, or even delta states, which are linked to relaxation, creativity, and deep healing.
So,
Oh,
can I interrupt you for just a second?
yes.
So one of the things that it reminded me of was when I was going through the cancer journey, and one of the people that I was working with, I had such emotional trauma and so much pain. All of my memories, every memory that I would have, if I heard a song on the radio, I would re-experience that pain that I may have had like 25, 35 years ago. And one of the things that my practitioner had talked to me about was, he says, I want you to be able to get to the point where you can have the memories. It'll be like watching a movie and but you weren't reliving the pain. And so that's kind of what comes to mind when I think about you talking about releasing some of those things.
Yes, and that's exactly what it does. And I have a really good example of that. My first sound bath I ever went to, which is what got me involved and interested in all of the science behind this. I just needed to know exactly how it worked because I had never done it. I was invited to one. I didn't have any idea what it was going to be like, what they did. Like, I had never heard of a sound bath. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. And I'd made a joke to my friend, like, well, I didn't bring a bathing suit. Do I need a bathing suit? And she kind of laughed and giggled and she goes, no, you're not actually in the water. This is what they do, and they play instruments and they vibrate, and that, affects your nervous system and your brain and all these things. And I was like, oh, okay, neat. So I was a little like nervous about going because I had never done anything like that before, but I went. And during that sound bath, it took me right back to a moment in time when my mother was in the hospital dying.
Wow.
Well, she had died. She had taken her last breath, and I was holding her, and I had my head laying on her stomach. And it was a traumatic death. It was unexpected. It was fast. I had no idea I was going to lose my mom like that. She was only 61. And it was very traumatic. But what happened in that sound bath almost towards the end of it, actually, it was about an hour long. And towards the end of it, all of a sudden, the sounds swooped me back, and I was in that hospital room with her, and had my arms wrapped around her, and my head was laying on her stomach, and I was crying because had passed, and I was just like in shock. And I don't remember how long I laid like that, but I just remember not wanting to leave her body because it still felt warm. And I remember thinking, but she's not gone. She's still warm. She's still here.
Mhm.
Like I just couldn't wrap my head around the fact that my mom was dead. And so it took me right back to that moment. And I literally felt the warmth on my face. I felt the warmth against my body, like I was there experiencing it again. And whatever that broke open for me, it released a huge amount of trauma I had been holding onto that I didn't even know I was holding onto. I thought I had processed all of that. It had been at that point like 18 years since my mother had passed.
Mhm.
And I thought I had dealt with all that through therapy and all the other things. And unbeknownst to me, I hadn't. And I that just cracked wide open. And I experienced that, and I was crying, and I was just like, what just happened? And then the sound bath wrapped up, and I felt really out of it, like, okay, whoa, I'm kind of out of it here. What happened? I didn't feel very grounded. So, but I have found out since then what happened was it released all of that trauma I was holding on to that I didn't know I was holding on to. And that's the beauty of this work. That's what it does for our bodies and our minds, because whatever affects your mind affects your body.
Mhm.
That's science.
Yeah. So
So,
I'm also curious I know for me, one of the ways that I was able to kind of come to the idea of releasing the emotions and stuff is that I now look at them as energies. And so when I experience that, whatever emotion it is or whatever, it's a specific energy. We know they've done science that different emotions actually have different frequencies and stuff. So when something like this is released from your body, would you consider trauma to be more of a vibration or more of like an energy, or are they the same? Is it both?
it's a stuck energy.
Mm-hmm.
Emotions are energy, and it can get stuck in your body. And we don't realize it's stuck in our body. And I kind of try to explain it to people like this. It's like let's say you almost get hit by a car. You're driving, minding your own business, and somebody runs through a light and almost hits you. Instantly, yeah, you have a lot of thoughts going through your mind, but you have more feeling and emotion. And it's almost like your whole body feels it, it affects it. That fear alone, that one feeling of fear can make your face turn red, your heart race, your nervous system, get all lit up, and can even make your muscles cramp and spasm. Like it's very physical. Emotions are physical. And that's the piece that gets missed sometimes is people don't realize I have feelings, but they come and go. No big deal. Well, they do come and go, but when they're traumatic,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's trauma induced feelings stay stuck in your body.
Yeah.
And so the vibrations from the instruments vibrate the water in our body, and that vibrating the water vibrates the cells, so it starts flushing that out of the cells, out of the system, that vibration.
Wow. Okay, so I totally interrupted you. So
Okay, I love it.
the slide that we've got on right now is the science behind the calm. You talked about the brainwave entrapment.
Entrainment.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I need
They
new
look very
glasses. I need new glasses. And so I didn't mean to interrupt you. I will turn it over. Let me know when we need to go on to the next slide.
Okay. So we talked about brainwave entrainment and how that can take you from the fight or flight state to a very, very, very deep, relaxed state. Almost, it takes your nervous system almost to the point of sleep. Like if you're asleep, you're hovering right above that state. And then there are many times people do fall asleep, and that's totally fine. It's perfectly natural, and you get all of the same benefits, whether you're awake or asleep. So that's important to know. As far as the nervous system goes, it helps to regulate the nervous system. So the instruments, the soothing vibrations activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps counteract the fight or flight response. And it shifts us into a deep state of relaxation. It also reduces cortisol levels and enhances our emotional well-being.
And we've talked about a couple weeks ago, even what happens when your cortisol, you get into that fight or flight mode, and your cortisol goes up, and it actually affects the part of your brain that is working. Even it turns on a different part of your brain to be where you're not able. A lot of times when you're in that fight or flight, you have a difficult time thinking and making decisions and stuff like that. And it's because it's a different part of your brain that's actually working.
Mm-hmm.
So
very true.
Yeah. Are you ready for the next one?
I am. So what to expect during a sound bath? During a sound bath, you typically lie down, although you can be seated. I do sound baths for elderly people, and it's more comfortable for them to be seated. So you can do it either way, and you still get the same benefits. So you generally lay down, close your eyes, and then the sound healer plays various instruments. And what these do is they create a soothing and immersive soundscape. So what happens is you can actually feel quite a range of sensations. You can feel tingling in your body. You feel warmth, and you also feel a very deep sense of relaxation. And as I mentioned, it's totally normal for people to fall asleep. But the things that are so interesting about this is, we're always so busy in life. We go, do. And the only time mostly that we take for ourselves is when we're sitting and watching TV, or we go to bed and go to sleep, and we feel that's taking care of ourselves. But there's so much more to it. And once you learn the connection between the mind and body, there's so many things you can do to help yourself. This is very good for anxiety, depression, spectrum. For people on the spectrum, they're using it in that way because it helps to calm the mind so much.
Wow.
Okay, so is sound healing right for you? Basically, it's right for everybody. We all experience stress. We all experience emotional overwhelm. We all struggle at times with sleep, our sleep cycles, maybe being in pain, maybe having ADHD and you feel very restless and it's hard to calm yourself down. It's good for all of those things and so much more. It's something that's safe, non-invasive, that has profound healing benefits. Because once your body is in that parasympathetic state, meaning it's not reacting to everything outside of you, all the outside stimuli, you go within and it calms your nervous system to the point to where it actually allows your body to start healing itself, whether that's emotional trauma or physical trauma.
Wow.
So the question is, how often should you receive sound healing? Everybody's different. And some people want to do it weekly. Some people do it once a month. Some people do it every couple of months. And really that's very dependent on where you're at and what you're trying to work through. I'm working with somebody right now that is going through a lot of grief. She has had to let go of a long time marriage, a job, a career, financial hardships, the death of a parent that she was very close to. And so right now, that is someone I'm working with weekly because that's what she feels like she needs. And we had a session on Saturday. And I think I mentioned this to you, Shannon. I had never actually had somebody, but it was also a private session, so she felt very comfortable. She wasn't in a room, a group of people. It was just her and I. And I did a guided meditation for it to start with. And it was all about grief, change, transition, letting go. So the meditation had all of those key components in it. And then I created the sound bath and the instruments to go with that theme because it's very specific work, and the notes you use and when you use them and how you use them or how soft or loud you use them all makes a difference. So it's the first time I've ever had someone, she was wailing.
Wow.
She put a blanket over her head. She had tissues in her mouth. She was holding up to her mouth because she was wailing so loud. And honestly, it startled me at first. And I didn't know if I was hearing some outside noise. I thought I kind of slowed my bowls down a little bit and let them, you know, go out a little bit. And then I realized, no, that's her. And so I just continued playing, and I actually played just a little bit louder so that I didn't want her to feel embarrassed. I wanted her to feel comfortable and know it was okay. And she literally did that for the majority of the session. And towards the end, I played nourishing notes, which is the grounding notes, to help pull her back into herself and ground herself so that she could kind of end her grieving for that moment. And she told me afterwards, she gave me a big hug and she's like, man, I can't believe how much you released. I feel so much lighter. And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Feeling lighter.
That's one of the things that I remember too with, I remember the very first time that I went to my practitioner, he did energy work, which was through acupuncture. And the very same thing with going to him the very first time. He actually told me, and he's told me this, and I've known him for years now, but he was like, I've never pulled so much energy off of somebody in one sitting. Now, the thing with that, I think it might have even been kind of like a wave, and he even wasn't ready for it, even because afterwards with me, I was shaking. I was literally shaking driving down the road. So being able to have that set to reground yourself. And because I remember even having kind of even a little bit of a panic attack. Just couldn't even describe why, but I felt like I was having a panic attack and I was shaking and stuff. But then once that first session was done, and after that, that's the same type of thing. It's like feeling that release and feeling light.
I call it moving furniture.
Yeah.
You're moving furniture that you've been carrying around on your body for years, just stacking it up, and we just don't realize it. We get used to it.
And
so we don't know the difference till it's gone.
Yeah, I think too, one of the things that happens, especially when you can't be your authentic self, when you can't be your authentic self, you end up piling up even more. You hold it and just pack it down. And so, so when you're not able to be your authentic self and live in alignment with your core values, it impacts that and intensifies the amount of pressure as well as even the trauma that you can experience in your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for a lot of us, we have a lot of religious trauma. We have a lot of PTSD from things. We've all gone through stuff. And so we're carrying around a lot of furniture.
Definitely.
All right, so I'll go on to the next one then. What are the benefits of sound healing? There are many, but I'm going to just mention a few. Sound healing helps lower your blood pressure. It lowers your heart rate. In fact, when I start my sound bath, I make sure everybody has a blanket. sometimes even an extra blanket, because your body temperature lowers when your nervous system calms down. So about 20 minutes into a sound bath, you will start feeling like you're a little cold, and that's just your nervous system is finally calm and your body cools off. So that happens. It also releases tension and reduces physical pain. And remember, I mentioned the vibration, the water in your body, and it vibrates your cells. That can release inflammation, which helps to reduce pain. And many people with chronic conditions, a lot of chronic conditions are inflammation based. So it is a good practice to find ways to help you reduce your physical inflammation. Another thing it does is it calms the mind, it soothes anxiety, it supports emotional release, as we were talking about, and clarity. Now, the interesting thing about clarity is when you do a sound bath, you actually can create an intention. And it's actually a very good practice to do this. So you sit quietly before it starts and you silently set an intention. And an example would be, I am releasing all limiting beliefs surrounding money. And you put that in your mind, you put that out there. And then as a sound bath is going, you can work through that and you can release those limiting beliefs. You can set an intention and actually release those things. Another thing it does is it balances the nervous system, as we've said, and it encourages deep rest and energetic reset, which is huge because remember, we're resetting the nervous system. Some other things it does is it can help with spiritual growth, because in this work, you can let go of a lot of limiting beliefs and things that you feel that are a part of your DNA because it's so deeply rooted, but it's not a part of your DNA. It's a part of your thought process, part of that being ingrained. And so it opens up those pathways to release that, which creates room for other things to come in.
So I have a question in regards to the first piece that you were talking about, in regards to lowering the blood pressure and stuff like that. What if somebody has something like a pacemaker? Do they need to worry about anything like that?
No, you can actually have a sound bath if you have a pacemaker, but you want to let the practitioner know, because sometimes I'll work on the body with an instrument and I would need to know that because it's a vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be careful with it. We don't recommend it in the first trimester of pregnancy because the nervous system of the baby is developing. So we need to get past the first trimester. And then, great question, because that actually is something that's brought up that we're trained, is to make sure to ask anybody if they have a pacemaker or if they're dealing with any kind of like, some people think, oh, you can use it on the body and help with a fracture. You know, I fractured my finger. Would this help?
Mm-hmm.
No, you do not want to use vibration on your body when you have a fracture. So there are things to think about.
Okay.
Okay, so the many benefits of sound healing. And I feel like I'm probably beating a dead horse at this point, but it does help reduce stress and tension, which, I mean, who doesn't want that? That helps you in every aspect of your life. It does improve your sleep because it helps to improve your sleep cycles. It lowers blood pressure. It does relieve pain, and it actually boosts your immune health. Now, the beautiful part about sound healing is you can go to a sound bath and enjoy the experience. And within that first 24 to 48 hours is called the integration period. So that's where your body is integrating the new vibrations. So you actually get the benefit for much longer than that 1 hour. And if you do it regularly enough, you start to train your brain and your nervous system to go back to those states quicker and easier every time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I can't see that one little tiny slide. Maybe I can, oops. Okay. So mental and emotional benefits. Doing sound healing and doing it on a regular basis, whether that's once a month, every few weeks, that helps to enhance your focus. It also helps with releasing stored emotions, just like the example with my mom. And it promotes inner peace and can also help spark creativity. Because once you can calm the mind down, there's so much that could go on with it. There's so much more you can, available to you once you can calm it down. Oh, here's the one. Okay. I think I went through all of them, Shannon.
Okay.
Woo-hoo!
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit now about kind of what we have up our sleeve a little bit, and what Melody and I we've been talking about some stuff quite a bit over especially probably this last year, since you got into the your certification as well as my coaching, and we've seen how much the things that the healing that we've been able to do. So this is how we're right now envisioning. They are ideas. It's what we want to bring forward. But what we want to be able to do is we're exploring adding some sound baths at the end of Deservingly You, the Deservingly You episodes, to do exactly like what Melody was talking. Whether it's for you to help release something that you might be experiencing at that time, or like if there's some points that John and I have brought up that really resonate with you, possibly just these little 5-minute things can help ground you so that you can, like Melody said, easier enhance that integration. John and I have talked about the integration and the importance of integration. So this is one of the things that we want to be able to do in the future. We're trying to figure out how to make it happen because we're new at this. We're trying to figure out, how the sound would work. We were experimenting with it a little bit yesterday and couldn't get it to come across the microphone right. So we're still trying to figure that out, whether we end up having them recorded or whatever, but that is one of the things that we want to bring in the future. The other thing too is that John and I have presented the Exit Generation movement a few weeks ago, and we introduced the idea of the framework of paths. And what paths is basically that framework that is kind of a map in a way to as what could happen as you're going through a healing process. And so what we want to do is take a look at each one of those phases and come up with a custom sound experience for each one of those phases in the framework, so that if you find yourself in those and you're finding yourself stuck and not being able to move on, that potentially this might be a tool that may be able to help you in your healing process. And also, once again, we talked when we were presenting that, we talked about that nervous system support. So we always want to be able to do that. So that's the second thing that we envision with working together. The other thing too is that we are looking at co-creating resources that can blend that sound healing with our coaching tools, so that clients can have that body-based way to regulate in between the sessions, in between the Deservingly You sessions, or if you start coming to any of our coaching. So that's another thing that we're looking to do. And then our goal is to make healing more accessible, as well as we want it to be fully embodied and safe. And so we want to honor sound not as an add-on, but actually as a really important part of the journey to taking that journey back to you and becoming who you are meant to be. So those are some of the ideas I would love to see in the chat. We've had you guys watch tonight. We haven't been as interactive. John does a better job at that, so sorry about that. But I would love to see in the chat if any of this resonates and if it sounds like something that you'd be interested in having us bring forward and sharing it with the community. So you can put a thumbs up. Hell yeah. Good. Yep, let's do it. All right. Thanks, Ruby. We knew you'd love it. So awesome. So, and we will keep you posted with how we're growing and learning with bringing this forward. But it is something that we do want to bring and help with you guys, or help for you guys. So now it's your turn. If you're here live, we'd love to invite you to the stage to ask a question if you'd like. You can bring your curiosity and insights. What are those questions? What questions do you have for Melody? All you have to do is click that join the stage button and we'll have Ruby bring you up and you can ask the question directly. It can either be Melody, it can be me. It's an open, respectful, safe space. So anybody have any questions that you would like to come up? Don't be shy. Please come. If I can do it, and Melody can do it, y'all can do it. I'm trying to think. I asked my questions throughout the thing. Do I have any other? Oh, you kind of touched on the immune system. How in the world can sound help build your immune system? How does that work? Oh, we've got somebody. Awesome. Who do we have? Their mystery. Heather, welcome.
Hi. Thank you, as always, for everything that you do. I was trying to formulate this question in my head so that so that I wasn't taking up too much time. So please bear with me. Melody, I've done sound baths in the past, a few of them. Some of them were kind of intense. I don't think that there was any specific focus on them. The reason why I wanted to ask a question was because I had recently asked Shannon. I was in fight or flight for a very, very long time. Didn't even realize that, and went into freeze mode for a couple of decades. And I just don't seem to know how to regulate the nervous system. I've tried, if I told you how many things that I've tried to do, it would take a very long time. So I guess my question is, it's multifaceted. How is this different from listening to different frequency music that you can get through meditation apps or YouTube or things like that? Why would these sound baths that I've done in the past not seem to get me to a point where I'm more capable of handling stress? I don't have the same traumatic backgrounds that a lot of people that Shannon and John encounter are familiar with. So I'm baffled why some of this stuff just doesn't seem to connect for me. So I guess I'll stop there and say those two main things about my question.
Okay, so first of all, yes, you can benefit from listening to sound frequencies and sound baths online because it will affect the nerve in your inner ear, but you won't get the full body vibration where it vibrates the cells, where it's vibrating the water in your body. You have to be present for that. So that is part of it. And I know doing it more regularly, especially if you're really dysregulated, just like anything, the first time you work out, it's hard and it feels funny and it feels different. You're not quite sure maybe what you're doing, but as you build on that and you do it more and more, your muscles start reacting to it. Things start changing and it becomes more natural. That's the same for your nervous system. Your nervous system is so used to dysregulation at this point. Like you've had some, I don't know about you, but I know if you're having trouble regulating your nervous system, you have a lot of dysregulation. You've obviously had a lot of things going on in your life, and it's going to take time and consistent effort. And I know that sound healing is really good for that, but I also want to give you some other tips. I don't know if you've looked into breath work, but breath work is actually one of the most powerful things you can do to regulate your nervous system. You can go online, look at videos specifically geared to your nervous system or whatever part of your body, whatever system in your body you want to work on. Go in there, look up breath work for that, because it is by far one of the most powerful things you can do for your nervous system. So that was that part. Did you have a second part to your question?
There was one thing before you go ahead. One of the other things too that came to mind is, especially if you had only done the sound bath like very few times, it also takes practice to learn how to set intention. And
what's funny is it takes practice to learn how to let go and allow.
Yes. Yeah.
And I say that because the first one I did, I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm laying there, I'm like, yeah, this sounds great. This is wonderful, but I don't know what's happening. And then it's like, once you understand the dynamic of it and you start being really intentional with the work, it does make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I feel for you, Heather, because I understand that. Believe me, I've been doing this 2 years and I still have moments of dysregulation for sure. It's something we always go through because, you know, we have things in our mind, we say things to ourselves, right? All the things, the tapes that play, and then you're like, okay, how do I turn those off? They're still affecting me. I need that to go away. I need those to turn off so I can feel more regulated. And that's all also part of the practice. There's so many facets that go into helping us regulate our nervous system: breath work, sound healing, yoga, walking, eating healthy. All of those things go into it. And then filling your mind with things that make you feel good and not bad. So I don't know if that answered everything for you, Heather. If not, let me know.
So I hear what you're saying. I curious about what you said, that you need to be present for the vibrations to work on the water in your cells. How does that work if we're doing this remotely with you now?
Well, go ahead.
Sorry, I just, before I forget, you talked about breath work, which I've tried doing, but everyone has their own version of it. How do you find the thing that resonates? I mean, there's so many different versions of that modality out there.
Yeah. Well, every body is different, so it really depends on what's going to work for you. I know for me, doing this and then working with other people, I'm seeing the benefits of it. I'm having people tell me their experiences and coming back to me and saying, wow, I feel so much lighter. I cannot believe how much I let go of on this last sound bath. Like, it's, and in that, it's creating room for other things in your life. And also the physical benefits that people experience. So yes, when you listen to it online, it is different. You still get benefits from it, but I am being completely honest. When you're in person, you get the fullest benefit from it. And that's just the modality. But you still get benefit listening to it because it does still influence your vagus nerve via the is it called inocular nerves in your ear? It still will affect your vagus nerve, and that's a really powerful nerve in your body to also help regulate your nervous system.
And don't you like recommend to have like earbuds or headphones?
You absolutely need headphones or earbuds. You need it way in there so that your inner ear is being vibrated. Yeah.
And sometimes, Heather, too, I know like when I was going through my journey, it was like doing a couple of different things. Like Melody did talk about like the foods that you're eating, the moving your body, making sure that you have plenty of water too. If you do this in person, you want the water in your system in order to be able to vibrate even. But also, like when I was doing the acupuncture as well as counseling, it's like it was almost like one would kind of loosen some of it up, and then I'd go to the next one and I'd be able to kind of release that level of yuck, and then go to the next one, and it would kind of we'd start working on something else. And so putting more than one thing at it. So not just looking at, okay, sound baths or breath work. That's what I'm going to use. Part of this is being curious. And John and I talk about it all the time, about getting in tune with your body and recognizing what is going on in your body. Know where you're feeling different things. Excuse me, know where you're feeling it, different things throughout your body, so that when you do go and do these, do the experiment with whether it's breath work, whether it's the sound bath or whatever, it's easier to recognize whether it's having an effect on you.
Yeah, I'm hearing everything that you're saying, and it makes sense. It's very frustrating for me because, like I said, I've been trying so many different modalities and things for so long, and layering things and trying to tune in and trying to be intentional. And, I feel like there's almost nothing that I haven't tried, but um, I appreciate the work that you're both doing, and I appreciate you taking the time to respond to my question.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We just want you to feel better.
Mm-hmm.
We want you regulated. We want you to feel better, Heather. And I hope you find a way to do that. And the good thing is you can do all kinds of things, and you'll find that one thing that makes a big difference. So keep trying, keep working at it.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for joining us from Brazil. That's amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Okay. All righty. Well, next week, John will be back. And we're going to talk about why growth isn't linear, and why that healing doesn't follow that straight path, and also what it might mean if we're hovering between the phases. One of the things I know that I face even just recently is being able to trust the timing of as you go through things. We're human. We are always going to be working on something. Because if we're not, we're going backwards or we're dead. So it's like learning how to hone in and be able to trust yourself. We talked about self-trust a little bit last week, and sometimes we want to be moving through our growth a lot quicker than what we think we should. And so we want to talk a little bit about that. So if you've ever asked yourself, shouldn't I be further along by now, especially if there's, coming out of high control environments, I should be healed. I should be healed by now. It's been so long. So anyway, we invite you back next Monday, same time, August 4th. And so would love to have you join us. And so for one of the things we want to leave you with, though, tonight, our thought for the night is sound brings us back to our center, gently, naturally, and without words. And if anybody would like to get a hold of Melody, take a screenshot of the screen, or you can come back and watch the show again. But we have her website here. We also have where you can follow her on Instagram. You can reach out to her through her email if you've got any questions. And you can always reach out to Johnny and I through our channel. We've got I've got our email as well as calendar links if you're interested in having a conversation with us. And so sorry that we didn't have as much in the back and forth chats like we normally do. But I just wanted to be able to have you guys learn about this powerful, powerful tool. and hopefully, like we said, we want to bring this forward. And oh, Ruby said she has a question. Sorry, Ruby, come on up.
Hey guys, just a quick question for Melody, because you mentioned that about letting go, right? And how this exercise can really help you do that. But my concern would be, I like to be in control at all times, you know, emotionally, mentally, physically. I don't want to lose control mentally. So if you're in a state of such calmness and such stillness and you're letting go of that trauma, are you still in control mentally?
You are still in control. You're absolutely. It's very interesting to me. That's why I know it's like such a deep meditative state, because I've had people in my sound bath snoring who I thought were asleep because they were snoring. But when the sound bath was over, they're like, "You played this instrument, and then after that, you played this one. What was that?" And I'm like, "You were snoring when I went by you with that." So your mind is always in control. It's always aware. And it's so interesting because everybody knows exactly what I'm doing, but half of them are snoring. And they'll say, "I love this one sound. What was that?" And 9 times out of 10, it's my wave drum. They love the wave drum because it sounds like ocean waves. And so they'll go, "What was that thing that sounded like ocean waves?" And it always surprises me because these people were snoring. And I'm like, how did they even like, but that's how it works. You're just in such a deep meditative state that it calms your mind and slows everything down. And you just feel so clear and you really go within. Um, and you literally can work through things in your mind and let go of things. Like if you set an intention, I'm going to let go of this is really bothering me and I want to let go of it and work through it. You can do that. Now, it may take more than one sound bath, but you can do it. You set the intention and you will release things you didn't realize you were releasing.
Now, Ruby, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So when you say staying in control, do you feel that crying and letting tears flow is being out of control?
No, I
Okay.
have worked out a positive thought process when it comes to that, because we used to always feel like that is a certain type of losing control. Not, I mean it more towards like when Melody mentions the word meditate or meditation. That for me, with my background, has a very negative perception of it, because when I was growing up, that was considered bad, as if you're emptying your mind for demons to enter or something like that, you know, very superstitious stuff. So when you say meditate or when you say calm or letting go, like those things to me is kind of a red flag, because I'm like, no, I need to be in control. I cannot let demons enter my mind. You know, so I want to know, what do you mean by like when you're meditating or these sound waves? Is it spiritual?
Nope. So with the meditation, what that is I start the sound bath before I ever start playing the instruments with a little bit of breath work and body scan to help you relax, to just relax into the space. Then I read a meditation. And generally it's a journey. Like we're walking along a path and we're coming across a stream and we look down and we see this beautiful shiny rock. We bend down and pick it up. The tree, the leaves and the winds in the trees. Things like that. It's like it's a journey. So then, you know, we're doing this very nice little journey. The meditation is you're just coming in a comfortable space, whether I even help you, encourage you to create that space. Like, where's your favorite place to go? Where do you feel your best at? Do you have a favorite camping spot or spot in your yard, your garden? You know, so it's taking you on it's a story that takes you on a journey in your mind to bring you to a place of calm, safe, to where you feel okay laying there and just listening to the sounds and enjoying it, that you're relaxed. It's a way to get you to relax. It's not a meditation like, okay, we're going to sit here, close our eyes, cross our legs, you know, say these things. Even though all of that is fine, That's not what I mean by that. The
Yeah.
meditation is a story that gets you into the relaxing sequence that we're going to go through.
Yeah.
Does that make
The only-
sense?
Yes, thank you so much
Yeah.
for bringing this information to us and helping us feel comfortable with these terms or with these therapies. Because before, for me, it was like I would never do therapy. I would never do a sound bath. I would never, like those were certain things that were kind of taboo. It's almost like you don't do those types of things because it has a spiritual connotation or like you're not in control type of thing. So I'm learning how to change that and learning how to use it as a good thing. Like it's good for
Yeah.
your body, good for your mind. Like everything that you presented today is now making more sense to me in a secular mentality, not so much like a religious or a spiritual thing that we have to be afraid of, because those things were very scary to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
me
other-
too, actually. I was raised the same way and I felt the same way. That's why when I first got into it, I was kind of like a little like, ooh, is this okay? Like, ooh. And then I learned the science behind it and how it's completely natural and it's something our body knows exactly what to do with. If there's nothing woo-woo about it or spiritual in that sense, you know what I mean? It's something that's your body knows what to do with the sounds
Mhm.
because it's a vibrating being.
Yeah. I want to touch too on a little bit on what Ruby was saying in regards to the meditation, and especially if it's like if you're doing the breath work and
Mhm.
you talk about going inside and stuff. Part of learning how to do that and be quiet enough to where you can listen to what your body is telling you. You can listen to the message that you have. And if you are so afraid of meditation to the point where you're not even willing to listen to yourself, that's sad. It really is, because when you're doing that breath work and you're quieting your mind and your body enough that you can listen to your to what it is telling you, you can that can be such a powerful healing tool. It will help guide you. I really I know that is what helped me a great deal getting through the cancer journey. Was being able to learn how to sit quiet and listen to what my body had to say to me. So, Tony, it was good to see you on tonight too. John, thank you so much for joining us. Happy thoughts, your wonderful comments. Thank you so much. Oh, Jay, does it help people with addictions?
Oh, I haven't been asked that one. Actually, yes, because it's not so okay. I'm not going to play my sound bowls and that's going to cure you of your addiction. But what it will do is calm your nervous system down enough if you're regular with it and your mind, and that helps you create space and not feel overwhelmed with what you are dealing with. So I do use it in recovery centers as an additional modality. And when I do that, I make sure that the program I have put together has to do with not only releasing trauma, because that's a big part of addiction, is a lot of held trauma within your body. You just don't realize it. There's so much trauma stored up that's a lot of times where addiction comes from, is not necessarily knowing the best way to deal with that trauma. And we can rely on other things to help us with that. But when you're regulating your nervous system, that's what all of us are looking for to help us with these things, because that creates room and allows us to have the ability to tackle bigger things. So that would be my best way of putting it. It is a good support for addiction recovery. Very good support.
And Jay, if you're looking for any assistance too, I don't know, I can't remember if you have been with us before, but John is 12 years sober. And so please feel free if you would, if you are struggling with it, or if anybody else is struggling it, feel free to reach out to him too. So we've lived it. And John struggled with addiction for over 30 years. And by the time that he got sober, his drug of choice was meth. And so it's kind of a miracle that he's sober, because that doesn't happen. Oh, hey Linda, good to have you.
Hi. So this sounds intriguing. I used to be terrified of the idea of being hypnotized. Am I getting feedback? I hope not. So and I was assured that when I was in therapy and stuff, and I allowed myself to be hypnotized. I was told all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, and that especially when my kids are little, like I didn't want to find myself in a place that I could not like wake right up if something happened and handle it. Is this the same way? Like you bring us through guided imagery and we listen to certain sounds, and if something happens, are we able to just like snap out of it instantly if we need to?
Absolutely. You are not hypnotized. This is different. Yeah, so the guided meditation is the beginning of the journey. Like I said, the story to get you to relax, basically.
Okay.
It puts you in a peaceful space, you relax. And then when I play the instruments, now the instruments are what do the work. And they will, remember we talked about the right and left brain entrainment. So it will bring that together, which basically it's like, okay, so one of my clients said he has really severe ADHD, and he goes, it's like you put my brain in a hammock and I could just relax, like all the thoughts stop, all that processing. And he goes, and the only time that happens to me is when I'm asleep. And so it's like you put my brain in a hammock and it's just at rest. You don't have all these thoughts going through your head. So that's what he told me it was like. And that's basically what it does. You are so relaxed. You're just resting. That's all you are. I'm bringing you to a state of rest with your nervous system and your brain, and you're just laying there resting. And oftentimes people will fall asleep. So that is not hypnotherapy. It is different.
Okay.
But a good question.
Thank you. That was what I needed to hear. That it was something that, if something happened, I could be awakened at the moment. Thank you so much. This sounds very intriguing.
Yep. In fact, people will turn over on their side and move around. So you're coherent. You're just so relaxed.
Yeah, and I think even with the background of being involved in hiking groups, as we were taught to never allow ourselves to be hypnotized, or maybe that was just my mother. I don't know.
I heard the same thing.
Yeah, so I can identify with what Ruby was saying, of not being in control, The thought of not being in control is just terrifying to me. Yeah, so anyways, thank you so much. I appreciate this.
Yes.
Good to see you, Shannon.
You too. Thank you for joining us. Okay, well, if we don't have any other questions, okay, so Jay says it seems like sound therapy helps with manifestation. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it is accurate because it helps so when we have so much on our minds that sometimes we don't think clearly. We have so much going on in our minds that it's hard to think clearly. This clears all that out, which at the time, so what it does is, like I've said before, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it creates space to be creative. It actually helps fire up, those parts of us that are creative, because it takes a lot of the stuff away that's weighting us down and taking away our creativity. We're releasing a lot of that. So it allows us to, you know, start being creative again. And it's actually really good. I'm glad you asked that question, because I use it a lot for senior citizens, because it's really, really good for their oh, the name just went out of my head, but like their cognitive ability. It helps to improve your cognition. So it really is good and helpful for that as well.
These are great questions. I appreciate you guys so much. Is it good for children?
Yes, it's absolutely good for children. In fact, they're the quickest to get the benefits from it. They have less to release. They respond to it so quickly because they don't have all the stuff we have, right? That gets in the way. And they respond to it really quickly. And they're finding that it's being used specifically with children to help them regulate. If they are having problems regulating their emotions, whether it be because they're on the spectrum or have ADHD or, you know, myriads of reasons, right? Just like adults, they respond to it so much quicker than we do.
Wow.
So yes, it's very good for children, even babies. So like I said, we exclude the first month of trimester if you're pregnant. But after that, I do mommy and me sound baths where women come that are pregnant. It's very good for them and the baby. And then I also have sound baths where the babies are with them. And it's really helps the mom and the baby to bond amazingly well. And it can help with postpartum depression.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's amazing. Good stuff. I can't wait. So, you know, a couple
too.
months I get to do it in person. So yeah.
So excited.
Yeah. So if anybody else doesn't have any questions, we can let you guys go and we will see you next week. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and thank you for the wonderful comments and the interaction. That makes it worth it, as well as knowing that we're bringing something that means something to you guys. Because once again, it's like we want you to come home, and coming home is coming to you and recognizing that you deserve to become who you are, who you really are. And so we will see you next Monday. And so with that, thank you all. We'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks for having me.